All right, this is 10.1 day 2, and we're going to finish up our introduction to circles, kind of those introductory vocab and theorems. So going back to our theorem card, and I think these are just reversed on your card for this year. I swapped them around. But the one that looks like this, the picture that looks like that, sorry, let me make that blank. So this theorem says in a plane, a line is tangent to a circle, so it just touches it once. If and only if, that means this definition works both directions. The line is perpendicular to a radius of the circle. So it means that a tangent and a radius, when they meet at a 90-degree angle. What's handy about that is we're actually going to make triangles out of that, and we're going to do Pythagorean's theorem. So as soon as we have that 90, we're using Pythagoras from chapter 7. So kind of the summary statement of that is that line M, this line right out here, which is your tangent, is tangent if the radius is perpendicular to line M. So if a radius and a tangent meet, they make 90-degree angles. So first example says PT is a radius, that's a T, kind of got half cut off there. It is a radius, and then they're asking, is ST tangent to this circle? So in order to be tangent, it would need to make a 90 here. I can't just put a box there because it looks like it. We need to do Pythagoras. So I'm going to do like a dotted box, like a pretend I'm not sure yet box. Let's set up Pythagorean's theorem, so we'll draw through the 90. 37 is the side that needs to go by itself, and I'm going to do a question mark above my equal because I don't know if it will be yet. And now we're just going to check both sides. So 37 squared gives me about 1369, still with a question mark. 35 squared is 1225, and 12 squared is 144. So adding those two together gives me a total of 1369. So they are equal. So since Pythagorean's theorem works, then this is a yes, that ST is tangent to circle P. Second example, it says in the diagram B is a point. Oh, and I don't even have a B there. Let's throw a B in there. My apologies. B is a point of tangency. We're going to solve for X. So if it is a point of tangency, then I get that 90-degree angle right away. And we're going to do Pythagorean's theorem. So I'm going to draw through the 90. Now this whole side is my hypotenuse. So this is going to look a little weird at first, but it's the 4 and the X are your hypotenuse. So I need that whole side, not just the 4. That's not the side of the triangle. It's this whole side of the triangle. Then 8 and 4 are my other two sides. So 8 squared and 4 squared. Now the right-hand side I can do 8 squared plus 4 squared and get 80. On the left side, we have to remember back from Algebra 1, if you have something that's being squared, that means you have two of them. So I'm going to write that twice. And what we're going to do when we have two parentheses like that is we're actually going to FOIL. So I'm going to do 4 times 4. I'm going to do 4 times x. I'm going to do another x times 4. And I'm going to do an x squared. I'm going to add together just a couple like terms. Sorry, my light's turned off. Let's see if I can get it back on. So I've got this x squared. I'm going to put that out front. We like it when our powers kind of go in descending order. I'm going to put my two x's together, so that'll make 8. And then I've got this 16 and my 80's on the other side. I actually need to bring the 80 over. To do that, I'm going to subtract it. So 16 subtract 80 gives me negative 64. And now you've got a squared, a non-squared, and a number. This is going way back to Algebra 1. We are going to do the quadratic formula in order to solve this. We are still trying to figure out what is that value of x right there. And in order to solve this, we either need to factor or we need to do the quadratic. This one does not factor very nicely. It comes out to be decimals. So we're going to do the quadratic formula. If you don't remember the quadratic formula, here it is. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now in your quadratic, that's what this is. The first number is your a, the second number is your b, and the third number is your c. As long as you have them in order, x squared, then the x, then the number, they go a, b, c. So now I'm just going to try and plug all of those numbers in where they belong up here. So negative b, which is 8. Then I've got b squared, so 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 64 all over 2 times 1. Just going to simplify. So in here, 8 squared is 64. I've got a negative 4. I'm going to show you how to type this in. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 64 gives me a total of 256 all over 2. One more layer of simplifying. 64 plus 256 gives me 320 all over 2. So to finish out your answer, because this is where our decimal comes in, I'm going to do two different, you have a plus and a minus here, so you're going to get two different answers. So the first answer I'm going to do is I'm going to go negative 8 plus square root of 32. I'm sorry, square root of 320. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. That's my first answer. Then I'm going to do negative 8 minus the square root of 320 and divide by 2. So my other answer is negative 12.94. So then out of those two answers, you kind of look and go, which one makes sense? Would it make sense that this could be a negative length? Nope, it doesn't. So that's not our answer. Our answer is going to be this 4.94. So a little brush back with foiling, quadratic formula, and how to solve that. You'll have a couple of those to do in your homework today. One more to do that looks kind of like that one. It says solve for x if the segment AB is tangent to the radius. So that means my 90 is right there. I'm going to draw through my 90. And remember that this side is just made up of two parts. So 50 plus r is my hypotenuse. My other two sides are 80 and r. And I know it seems goofy at first, but just write those. Trust the process about where this is going to take us. So I've got 80 squared on this side, which gives me 6,400 plus r squared. On this side, let's squeeze it in here, I have to write that twice, just like we did up above. When you have something squared, it means it's times itself. So now we're going to FOIL. 50 times 50 should give me, I'm not trusting my brain today, 2,500. Then I've got 50r, another 50r, and at last an r squared. All right, so there's our fence problem. I'm going to try and subtract my r squareds to get them together, and bam, they just disappear. On this side, I've got 2,500, and then I've got 50 r's and 50 r's, so that makes 100 r's. And now we're going to solve this, so I'm going to subtract the 2,500. This is 3,900, divide by 100, and r is 39. So lots of practice on foiling today, remembering how that goes. A little bit of quadratic formula for one or two of them, and you're doing kind of Pythagorean's theorem over and over again today.